Yeah, there we go. Looks like we're live.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Here we are on the Business AF podcast with Chris and my man right here. Can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. I'm Robert Garrett from Central California. My practice is the Taxman Financial Services LLC company. Going into my 19th year.
Yeah, that's so you're telling me a little bit on how before we went live on how you started your company. For everyone that's listening, or we might have some accountants that are or some future CPAs that are listening to this right now or in the future. So can you please tell your story?
Yeah. I started doing taxes on my own. Then a couple of family members, and then they started referring people. As I was going to school for business, and then it became okay. Let me take this a little serious. The funny thing is, in school, you only take one class in the lower level of taxes, and in the upper level you take another class. Everything's accounting based, but tax wise you learn kind of while you're in the field and through some of the IRS training and the California training. But yeah, I did it while I was working, after work on the side for a number of years, solely working for myself. I did it for 9 years. So it's been actually a journey. So
Why is it that schools only offer a lower level and an upper level class?
there's other ones, but for personal income tax. So a lot of like CPA work is built around corporate tax, and so
Hmm.
corporate tax first is around the accounting part of it. But there's a number of trainings after that, but not necessarily in the CSU, in the classes per se. So how it however it worked, but with the continuing education, the seminars, the webinars, those type of things, the tax code book is very lengthy. I mean, you could go into depth
Hmm.
even more, but for the most part, in a business, my degree is in accounting and management,
Hmm.
4-year degree, and that's just all I had at both colleges.
Interesting. So when so you said you were working for 19 years, but then you're also before that working for other companies, correct?
Yeah, so I was running front office as a bookkeeper, accountant, payroll clerk, just those different titles.
Okay, and then you decided to one day just try and become a certified accountant. Is that?
Yeah, I started with tax and noticed the name, the tax man, and I branded that, and that's what everybody knew me as. But as you start doing taxes, people come in and they got different needs. And instead of
Hmm.
trying to send them somewhere for those needs, I tried to make sure that I could handle those needs. So I went from bookkeeping to accounting to business formation, meaning like doing a nonprofit, corporation, LLC, just all the steps in that payroll, tax solution. Tax solution is probably our biggest niche because a lot of people they'll go, maybe they go to H&R Block, they go to Jackson Hewitt, well they close their doors April 15th, and then
Right.
those problems don't come back until a couple months later. And so people ask, is that my competition? I was like, I mean, they got a good brand, but we fix a lot of their mistakes, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You kind of got
Right.
to man up, and that's one problem that, for example, I keep also hearing from other people is like, for example, some CPAs only work from like February or January till
Hmm.
April or May, right? Whenever the extensions will roll
Yeah.
in, and then after
Yes.
that they go on vacation.
And that was me actually until the last 4 years. The last 4 years before that, that's what I used to do. I used to
Okay.
just, relax. Now, I got 4 employees. We're open all year long. The last couple of weeks, like we've been in here doing eight to 10 hours a day,
Hmm.
just doing end of the year compliance for corporations, LLCs, nonprofits. Getting that stuff ready. But also, we're still doing the bookkeeping, accounting, payroll. With QuickBooks Online, you can get certified on there. It's pretty easy.
Hmm.
I suggest taking some college courses though for a foundation. What I
Yeah,
see is a lot of
definitely.
people that fell in that they don't have that foundation. So,
Yeah,
you
I'm one of those people for sure.
know.
Because I have a business as well, a startup tech company, but
Mhm.
I am also dabbling in real estate. So, for example, I have questions that come up, like,
Right.
right, like when I'm doing different things in my business, or if I'm trying to get into like real estate as well.
Hmm.
I have different questions, and sometimes my CPA isn't available. So I think it's very important, or I wish there would be more CPAs that were available, I guess. And
Right. In the industry, I
yeah,
see that a lot. The CPAs. One of the things I try to do, especially on social media, is be personable. So I'm a regular person you could talk to. So I got a Facebook page, The Taxman 209, or my website is thetaxman.com. And people could reach out to me. And for me, consultation is free. A lot of CPAs don't do that. You know, for me, that's the way in. Maybe they need me. Maybe I need them. However it is, you know. But yeah, being accessible to people is personable to people, not untouchable. You know, I think that's
Right.
very important.
Definitely. I agree with that. So, what was the reason to get into this field? If
You know, it
if
makes sense to me. You know, everything makes sense at the end of the day. You know, you work on something and it makes sense. Meaning the numbers always add
yeah.
up. The numbers don't lie. And statistics, they could lie because they could be what you want them to be. But
Yeah.
as far as money, like, you know, it just always made sense. And it seemed like it was almost like each case was a puzzle. And then once you made that puzzle fit, then, you know, then move on to the
Yeah.
next. The real world
Okay.
sometimes ain't easy as school, but we make it work.
Yeah. That's cool. So, and then also, so now you said you have 4 employees and you just started working full time about, or like throughout the whole year, 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what struggles have you had trying to grow? And also, what are some things that you've learned along the way
Well, it's always a
making
learning
the
experience.
change?
For me, I think it's like an attorney. An attorney, he knows he has niches that he knows. He doesn't necessarily know the whole law book, and when he does, he knows there's resources to get that information and to dig in. And tax is the same. The tax book is crazy big, and so if you're dealing with something all the time, say Schedule C's, you're with that, so you understand that well. But now something comes up, maybe a 1041 in a state, and you're not used to that. So some of those, if they're complicated, I'll send those off work. So I know my limitations on some of that, and it's just because I don't do enough of them. Some of the struggles I think is just, you know, I believe I could have did it sooner, but I didn't jump. I didn't say, you know what, I'm going all in, and I'm gonna get me an office location, a big one, and just jump in. When I first got in the location I'm in now 3 years ago, it was 1,400 square foot with 5 offices, and it was just me. And I
Mm,
was like, this is big, but let's see what we can
yeah.
do. Yeah. So just jumping, you know, leaping and just, you know, going full fledged. You know, some people want everything, but they don't want to go all the way. So
hmm So, do you do any marketing for your business?
yeah, I have a history. So in 2001, well, I did music. So when I did music for 10 years, and I owned a music label, and I did the recording and the engineering in that. And so with that, we sold 23 albums nationwide. We sold about 700,000 albums independently. With that, though, came promotion. So I took that promotion model and did it here. So I do flyers. I do social media. I do stickers. I give out T-shirts. So every client that comes in, they get a free T-shirt.
Mm,
You know, but I do like dry fit ones, so they're at the gym. So when people are at the gym, they see, you know,
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
see that. I do a number of things, and then with local sports teams, I sponsor them, you know, that type of stuff. So I believe, you know, in those they may one cost 600, one cost 1,000, but a couple of clients that pays for it. Plus, you're out there, you know, and each client
hmm
can lead to 5 more easy.
Yeah, because it's all about word of mouth, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
Like my office isn't on a main street, but I'm never worried about being visible because word of mouth is what my main clientele. I'm 19 years in and I'm 5 star still
Mm,
on all my reviews, so that says a lot about the service, you know.
yeah. How are ways that so if it's not from word of mouth, how is it that some people have found you?
Well, you know, some people should be familiar with Google My Business. That's something online. It's free. So if they do kind of search on there, it's kind of like a social media on Google. So you can post pictures and that type of stuff, and you get you more traffic. So you start popping up. That's one way. Social media as well, doing some ads on Facebook and Instagram, that type of thing. Every time, I mean, the ads are cheap. Every time I do one, I get a client. Every time I do one, I get some kind of client in some way. Sometimes it may not be a big client, but either way, I'll get some kind of interaction. Well worth it.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully you get a couple more clients through this podcast.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
the good thing about today technology is they don't need to be here. I have clients that move away in Idaho, Texas, Midwest, and we still do their stuff. Everything's e-sign. I got a portal that they send everything through. And that's the good thing about technology is you can work with anybody anywhere.
Definitely. That's what I enjoy about it as well. So if you have clients that move from California to another state, can you still do their taxes because they move
Yep.
somewhere else? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Everything's done through e-sign. We do DocuSign. They send their documents through a secure portal. A lot of people try to send it through email, which I don't recommend because, just everything that's going on with email, but through the secure portal, and everything is just businesses, all they get call. We go back and forth on their dialogue. However, yes, sir.
You don't have to be certified in those states.
Well, some states might have some certification. Only one, California's got C-Tech. New York is a little picky on theirs. If that's the situation, we'll do their federal, and then we'll outsource the state. We haven't had a
Mm,
problem yet, though.
okay. Do you ever collaborate? So when you collaborate with other CPAs, how does that work?
It depends. So, like,
Or
there's a few
accountants?
in Idaho that I do with, and I do it the same again. It comes from my music. So one of the things in music that I used to do is we'd do a flyer. I'd put our stuff on one side, and I'd find someone in Colorado, an artist, put their stuff on that side. I would pay for the flyer. I'd send it to them, 5,000 of them. Well, they'll never throw it away, because they're on one side. And even if they put my face down, someone picks it up. They see both sides, so it's
Hmm.
automatically winning. And then so for tax returns, it's the same way. We'll share that data, or I'll give them a percentage, and I'll share them different clients from over there. So maybe they got someone that wants to do accounting and they don't want someone far away, then there's their client there. Of course,
Hmm.
there's an agreement that gets signed, and that type of thing. So, but yeah,
Okay.
so I'm some a lot of CPAs, a lot of accountants, they don't want to work with other people because they're worried about losing their workload. Even me, education, I like to educate my client because the more educated they are, the better they are when they come to me. Some accountants and CPAs don't want to do that because they're worried about them going to do their own tax return. And that's fine, that happens. But usually, say I charge them $500 every year, and they go 3 years ago do their own, they save 15, but they make a mistake, a $6,000 mistake, they never save no money. They never touch
Hmm.
their return again, and they always come back. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
from the years, that's what I see. It happens, but once they make that mistake, they never touch it again.
yeah. So what do you think about for example, like Intuit, they have TurboTax.
Uh-huh.
Do you, what are some pros and cons that you see with that
Well,
software?
one of the with TurboTax, one of the new ones, I don't know if you've seen it, where
Hmm.
you can scan your W-2 or take a picture of it, and it imports the data. Well, I've seen really big mistakes with that. So people come in and get a quote, and they're like, "Well, Turbo said this," and I'm like, "There's no way. Like, there's no difference." I look at it and I was like, "Oh, look, TurboTax read your thing wrong. Had you filed it, you would have got a notice in 2 years. IRS usually takes 2 to 3 years, and you would have owed this much money." And then also TurboTax is kind of a walkthrough, so you could give it the wrong answer a few times, and it could screw your whole thing up. It's going based on what you tell it to do.
Right.
So some of it could be okay, but again, I've had a number of people come in. They bought a house, so they're like, okay, I need a professional to do my taxes, and they have last year's. And I go, why didn't you take this credit or that credit? They go, oh, I did it on TurboTax. But someone's getting $4,000. They're like, okay, that's good, but you could have got six, or
Mm.
someone that owes 12,000, but they could only owe 8,000 had they known. And so a lot of times people don't want to pay for that professionalism. And that's fine. Like they can come in here and get a quote and go on their own. If it's the same, they don't have to come back. For me, it's okay. I
Right.
do them. But
Hmm.
what they get from me, the service they get from me, they're not going to get from TurboTax.
Yeah. Well, now, especially now that you work year long, I mean,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yes,
You know.
exactly. So people want estimates, or however they come in. I look at their W or their last check stub, kind of give them an estimate what where they need to be, if they need to up their deductions, or if they could claim exempt for the rest of the year and be good.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. TurboTax is good. I like it, but a lot of people depend on it to be correct when it's based upon whoever's putting the information in.
Hmm. Yeah. I know. So what about with, like corporate taxes? Do you have
Corporate taxes,
businesses that you work with a
we do a
lot?
lot of those. Yeah, we do a
Hmm.
lot of those. Most corporate taxes, no one really does their own on that. Again, you have easy corporate taxes, and then you have some complicated ones depending on depreciation, business credits, and that type of thing. So that's the biggest thing now because the corporate tax rate is down. So a lot of people on Schedule C, if they're making so much money, their self-employment tax is kind of high. So you could alleviate some of that with a LLC or a C corp that's taxed like an S corp. So you could
Hmm.
get away from some of that. those are part of business strategies. So they come in, I talk to them. I never force my products and services on anybody. I give them some ideas and I tell them always search around. I always tell people locally here, go shop around and then come here, and you probably won't want to leave. So
That's great. So how do you become someone like Jeff Bezos and not have to pay millions of dollars in taxes?
a lot of people, like, especially when the whole Trump thing went on, there was like, oh, he's not paying taxes. And well, he had been a fool to pay taxes because he just used depreciation loss, on other companies to lower his taxable income.
Hmm.
And I see people on social media grumping about it, but I'm like, you come in and you owe $500 and you don't want to pay $500.
Yeah.
The principle is the same. No one wants to give away any money, but it's, like for business, they'll have a company over here losing money. They'll have another company over here making money, but they come together. And so it kind of zeroes out a little bit. And that's it's just strategy. People that kind of grump about it, I see them on social media, talking, they don't want to pay tax or they want to get a return. It's business. They would be a fool not to take their deductions. It's within the law. So if you have a problem with the law, then you need to worry about changing the law.
Hmm. So so when you talk about depreciation in a business, how does that work?
Well, depreciation is like when you buy something of value. Say you buy something of equipment for $5,000. You could depreciate it over a number of years. Or now, they have like the 179 where you could depreciate it all at once, up to a certain amount depending on your income threshold. But so you could use those expenses to lower, your taxable income. Now, depending, you may take certain ones that you depreciate more than others, depending on your income. So, like, for instance, if you have 500,000 in income, you don't want to take 800,000 in depreciation because you're negative. That's not going to do nothing for you.
Hmm.
You want to maybe take 400,000 to have $100,000 in income. So just depending on your situation. So those get a little sticky. So you got to kind of look at what you got and see. But yeah, so it's just an expense that you could take. Now, if you take it all now, though, then you have no future expense. So you want to make sure you plan ahead. So the planning is real important on those type of things.
Hmm. So for some people that may be listening, so I know businesses can do like quarterly taxes or yearly, right? Well, I don't know about individuals, but
Well, individuals as well. So anytime you owe over $1,000 to the IRS, is on a personal side. Anytime you owe over $1,000, you should be making quarterly taxes, or up your withholdings if you're a W-2 employee. And if you don't, there's a penalty for that. The penalty is small, but it's kind of the IRS way to get their interest. That if they would have had that money, they would have had interest. That's over $1,000 on the state. On California, in most other states, it's anything over $500. The same thing. So like if you're a Schedule C, you're self-employed and you're just a Schedule C, not a corporation, you should be doing quarterly payments based upon your year before. And doing that so you don't get that penalty. And yeah, so those are the quarterly taxes that you'd end up paying on federal and state.
okay, interesting. Yeah, because and it's hard, right? Because a lot of CPAs will tell you different things, so you try to figure
They
out really
will.
what works.
I have a client, he owes every year, he owes about 20,000. He does no quarterlies. His penalty on that is $300 and something, $400 something.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, well, I could use that money to make more money, so I'll pay that 300. So it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the power of money, can you use that money to make more than the penalty? Then why wouldn't you?
Right.
So
Exactly.
it makes sense. It makes
So,
dollars.
yeah. So how do you stay up to date with all the laws and all the
Well,
laws
this
and
is
codes?
like one of my new books here, so it's a pretty thick book for just this year stuff. It's a lot of webinars, a lot of seminars, a lot of conferences. Again, you try to hone in on what you see more of. And hardly no CPA wants to say, you know what, I'm going to send you somewhere else because I don't know that. But you got to know your limits as well. So on some like estate stuff, I will, because estate's not something that I dive into that I know a lot of loopholes. And the last thing I want to do is have a client come in here and I don't give them the best that he can get or she. So webinars are on every day. There's a webinar you can get from multiple sources. QuickBooks has them. They're everywhere. So you try to look for what webinar is in what you want to do, and then local groups I'm with the NATP, CSTC, in California, and those are different organizations, and they have different conferences and stuff like throughout the week too.
Mm-hmm.
So just staying on those, I go to 2 big seminars, usually one in Vegas, one in Reno every year. And those are, the IRS is there, the California's there, all the states are there too.
There's a big one coming up this month, isn't there? Or it may have
Uh,
already passed.
there always is every month somewhere.
Oh no,
I
I
haven't
thought
been
like
to the
in
San
Vegas.
Diego one yet.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was one in Vegas this month. Yeah, because I have a client actually who we're building a like a software solution for him, a web
Hmm.
software solution, and he's trying to promote this product this month. Um, and his product is interesting. I mean, he's a CPA and he's been doing this for a long time as well, but he's trying to, or he's building a product right now that, for people that want to retire out of the
Hmm.
industry, what do they do with their business? So it's like kind of like you can sell your business online or auction it off to other businesses or sell your clients to other CPAs
Hmm.
and find partners on there as well.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's saying that
I
that's like
usually
a
get a
big
letter.
market.
I usually get a letter every year from H&R Block. They want to buy my business or a partner.
Really?
So they do that, yeah, yeah,
So
because
that's probably how they make their.
yeah, and they do that a lot. So they'll partner, and then you got to go by their prices and everything they do. But you could sell too. But they get it, because you can look up people's EROs or you can look up their P10s and see how many returns they're doing and that type of stuff.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Yeah, well, I'm sure H&R Block isn't trying to offer you anything equal to the amount of what you're probably making or anything like
no,
that,
not
right?
at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
yeah, it's not worth it. So that's kind of like what this software is. It's kind of because you put your price on there, right?
Oh,
And then
good.
people,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. And then people either they want it or they don't. But of course, you're gonna have to share all the documentation
Right, right. And then
later
people
down the
can go
line.
on there
For
and kind of shop for what they want.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, exactly. For example, if you have 200 clients, and you're making X amount of money per year, and then maybe your valuation comes out to being like 400,000, 500,000 to sell your business.
Hmm.
You put it on there, and then someone will probably want it, based on location, and then after that, once you get a serious buyer, then you share all the documentation needed to the other person that's trying to buy your business, and then hopefully you can establish a deal that way, or you can buy clients as well.
Right.
Because
Nice.
exactly, yeah, well, because exactly now everything is remote. You don't need to
Yes.
have your client in front of you. So I mean, you could
Hmm.
have clients in different states and cities.
Yes.
Yeah. So like
That's
just
nice. Yeah, I
focus
have
on
a
what.
few. I've bought clients before, and it's negotiate it, and you could actually come out on top pretty good. So that's perfect for that type of stuff. Especially, I know a number of people that go out of business or not go out of business, but they want to step away and retire, like you said, and they need that platform.
Hmm. So what do you see happen? So like you see people that want to get out of the business, but for some reason they're kind of stuck with it. So how, for example, if it was you, how do you handle a situation like that? For those that might be listening.
Yeah, I would. You know, well, the good thing is I work with a lot of other tax preparers and accountants all over the country. So, selling a client base, they're going to want to know how many will want to come through or how many do I do digitally. Because honestly, with the digital age, I got people that are 4 miles away that haven't came in 5 years. They just do everything online from work or whatever. And we have my tax database with business and everything is around 2,100 right now. Probably grow a lot more this year. But of those, about 500 are just they don't come in.
Oh,
Um,
so you have a lot of
and that
clients.
and that's growing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like even now, even home financing, refinancing your house, you don't even go see anyone anymore. You can just do it all online.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think the network of it though, and also like I pay attention around here who's doing what, as far as my industry. What are they doing? Am I on par? Am I doing okay compared to them? And I don't, and me, I'm not cocky. So like, I'll go visit them, and sometimes they don't want to visit me because I'm competition. But I'm fine. I mean, because in retrospect, 2,100, that's not even 1% of the population here.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much is out there.
Hmm.
So like, I'm not competition. The 2,100 is nothing.
Yeah.
and or tax returns. I mean, there's luckily now I do everything else that carries on. But even I mean, we still do well with the 2,100 clients. Because half of those are business clients. But still, though, like there's no competition. So I like to network with the local people doing the same thing, and then therefore selling your business. They know if you're doing well. You don't even have to tell them. They know, and they'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Like and maybe there's 4 or 5 of them, depending on the size of your city. Now you kind of got it up for bargain, like who's offering what.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So then, can CPAs collaborate more? Is there ways to do that
They
instead of
can,
always
but
trying to fight for competition all the time?
not always. I think, in my experience, the elderly CPAs, they kind of like they do it their way, and that's it. And they don't network really. The younger generation, I think, is out there a little more social media wise. They just got to get out of the house now and go to some real conferences and that type of thing. Honestly, like I'm always working. So if I go to the parades, when I go to the parades, I'm not in the parade because then I wouldn't be able to talk to people. So I'm just talking to people. I coach sports, at the local high schools and youth levels there. So I'm always talking to people there. If I go out for dinner, if I go out for drinks, I'm talking to people and not necessarily talking business, but we're just talking. And then if the conversation comes up, but usually someone knows me somewhere.
Okay, that's good.
So I think that's important. I also and then the social media. I don't pay anyone for social media per se, because I do all right with it. And could it be better? I think anything could be better. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you find someone that does social media well, it's well worth it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to find those. Social media is one of those things. Like if you hire someone, you probably want to hire them for at least a couple months to really see some return back on your revenue.
Yes, because you're not going to see it in 1 month. It's not going to happen.
No, not at all. Even 2 months is kind of cutting it short, but I mean, you'll probably see some gains after that, hopefully.
Yeah, social media. When I get new clients that come in, I'll ask them. I'm like, "How do you hear about me?" Most of them are social media, and they'll say, "Well, I seen something you posted 9 months ago," and so when this issue came up, you're the first person I thought of. And so that's something, like you're saying, like sometimes you got to invest whatever it is, and it comes back later, but then it starts stacking on top of each other. As long as you're doing it right, you just keep going, and then it'll come back. I mean. And that happens every month. Like, everyone, because I'll post different. Education is the biggest one, and then humor. If you post just facts, people don't even really care about that. They want to see some kind of did you know, or some kind of humor. Like right now, what is it? The W-2s are dilated to 1 centimeter right now. The W-2s are in the crock pot simmering and that type of stuff. People love those because they're ready. But or the humor in that, or just, hey, did you know that the tax credit for this and this, and they're like, wait, what? But just facts, most people don't care. But those little things to know, though, that's how you get people kind of hooked in.
Mm-hmm. You should be like the tax man meme king.
I go stealing memes. I don't have time to make memes. There's some good hashtags out there where people post them and they're good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One of the hashtags is like tax season on Instagram. Like they have all kinds of stuff.
So I'm sure. I have a friend that he's been trying to be this meme guru for like the last couple of years.
Right.
And actually, I mean, now he's starting to get some traction. Like he's getting celebrities like liking his stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I don't know why, but it's just funny that.
Right, but that's what captures though, and so you got to find a way to capture your crowd, right? And so that's what captures. But the biggest thing is if your mark sticks in their head when something comes about, you're the first one, and that's paying off. That's the promotion paying off, and it might not happen today. It might happen in a year from now, depending on how persistent you are.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what it is, right? So like with any business, like you have to be persistent. You have to keep just moving forward and pushing. You can't stay stagnant.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, and staying with technology. You know how many people we were talking about how you could be anywhere and we could do your tax returns and business stuff. Well, there's a lot of old school people. They don't do it. They don't
Yeah.
e-file. They don't, or they don't even like on payroll. They do it the old school way. They don't even e-file your payroll taxes and stuff. That some of that stuff's kind of mandated now, but
Mm.
still they don't want to do it because of that. Because they don't understand that. They don't understand any of that, or they
They
don't
probably
want
don't want
to.
to learn it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I
Yeah.
try to stay on top. I've been doing the online stuff since I started. So
Mm.
on my own, like 9 years. And
Hmm.
so, like, people always, some people still are like, oh, you could do that. And I'm like, yeah, it's
Hmm.
going 21st
Definitely.
century.
Yeah. 2020 almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, it's true because like right now, I'm based in San Diego, but right now I've had a couple clients in Vegas, and then I might be having one in Chicago here soon. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't need them to come here, and nor do I need to go over there. I mean, sometimes I'll travel to just go visit them out of
Right.
respect and just being like giving them like a good customer service,
Right.
and I'll do that. But I mean, like I'm trying to even like see if I can get some clients in Europe as well at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And why not? I mean, because we can,
Right. The
you
app
know.
world is worldwide. Yeah. Tech world. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can get clients almost anywhere as long as they're willing to work with us and just like we do things like this. We got on a video call, we discuss it, we
Mm-hmm.
showcase the product, emails, of course, and then I mean that's all we really need. And then just like sharing documents online, like through like a
Right.
Dropbox folder or Google Drive.
Yes. Yeah. I got a
Hmm.
client. He's an engineer, and so he's based away from me about 30 miles, but he gets a lot of stuff from China. So he's in China once a month. And so
Hmm.
we'll Zoom call, conference call, hey, should I get this? How would this work? If I bring this, how does this work? So those
Right.
things, like, so you could be doing business, and we're different time zones, he's on the other side of the
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
but that's the beauty of everything,
Hmm.
so, and
Hmm.
then, and me, like some people aren't accessible at certain times, mostly me, like I'm accessible all the time.
Hmm.
But that's part of my business. That's part of what they get with me,
Right.
and that's part of the experience. That's why I do well, I believe.
Hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Well, Rob, looks like we're coming up on our 30-minute mark now, but I just have a quick random question for you.
Okay.
Like we always have like a random question. So if you were a number, which number would you be?
I would be number 22.
Is that a lucky number?
It's not a lucky number. It's not to bring any sadness, but it's my son's football number, and he actually passed away 4 years ago. And so
Oh,
the 22 is always the double digit 22. So,
well, it
and
is your
that's
lucky number then.
yeah, pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that is your lucky number. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, so for some of our viewers that are watching, where can they find you?
TheTaxman.com, which not the. And I did that on particular because Z points out it's the one.
Hmm.
On Facebook, it's the Taxman 209. So facebook.com/ that. Also, I hashtag everything the Taxman. Those are the best
Hmm.
ways. You'll find me on there. If you just did a search, my website is decent. It has all my social media links and contact and everything. So any questions are free. Anything. So yeah, I'm here to help and even
Perfect.
educate. And that goes for not only clients but also young accountants, young tax preparers, any of that type of stuff. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, some consulting services as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. All right, great. Well, it was great hearing you, speak and learning from you, and I hope some of our viewers got some good information out of this.
I appreciate it,
So,
Chris.
yeah, definitely. All right, Rob. Well, thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye.